It's Wednesday, July 16th. I'm Jim Check with Now Media. With me, Andrea Jensen-Berg, sitting in for Ian Burns, who is on holiday for the next 2 weeks here. So he's, I guess, a week and a half now.
Week and a half. He's in Quebec, I believe. He's
in visiting Quebec, trying to fix the country from coast to coast, right? We got lots to talk about today. Carney shifts from tough talk. That's the big one. Is Canada even in the game, though? First Nations challenge that big Bill C-5. Albertans speak up, and they want to be heard by the sounds of it. Liberal MP says government not scrapping Bill C-18. All that and a lot more on the really big show. You ready to get into it?
Yep, I'm ready. I'm awake. I'm here.
There you go. We're going to start off with a clip from Mark Carney here. We're going to play this clip first of all.
First thing to say is the government has consistently stood up for Canadian workers and businesses throughout these negotiations. Will continue to do so. I expect that the discussions will intensify between now and the end of the month, and we'll be working hard on that. At the same time, we need to recognize that the commercial landscape globally has changed. It's changed in a fundamental manner, and we will continue to focus on what we can most control, which is building a strong Canadian economy. And that's part of what we'll be discussing in Cabinet today. And a strong Canadian economy, to be absolutely clear, includes a strong steel industry. It includes a strong Canadian auto industry, a strong Canadian aluminum industry, and copper industry, and others. And we'll be focused on what we can do to support that.
Yeah, like it's gone from elbows up, tough talk, to like, we're going to see what we get out of this, and we're likely going to have to deal with some of the tariffs sticking in place. And he's off. He's going to visit a steel, or I think it's an aluminum plant today.
Yeah, and he's talking about protecting the auto industry, but we've already lost 30,000 jobs in our Canadian auto sector in June alone. So, and it's projected to go to 68,000 this year.
Now, if they don't drop that EV mandate, there is no auto sector to protect. So there's that. The food professor, the guy we follow on X a lot, Mark Carney will charm the tariffs away and out-negotiate Trump. That was the Canadians saying that. Now in July. So the best deal possible includes keeping some tariff. And that's lower your expectations and your elbows. And I say, like, put your glasses on and see for what's really happening out there. Dan McTeague, a former Liberal MP and cabinet minister, says, let's see how Liberal, or how Canadians who voted Liberal now strut with their elbows up, and calling them fools. That's because Carney says chances are low for a tariff-free trade deal with the U.S. And I don't think anybody's really getting a tariff-free trade deal with the U.S. right now.
I don't think so. They just signed one with Indonesia, I believe, and 30% tariffs?
I think it was 20.
20?
20, and then Indonesia called that a good deal, and their stock market went up on it. So, I think a lot of the countries are recognizing that, we were just going to deal with these tariffs.
Give it a few months, and we might be saying it's a good deal.
Harman Bangu, a BC MLA, said Mark Carney promised to stand up to Trump and get a good deal for Canada. Now he's saying tariffs are inevitable, even with a deal. Talk about capitulation, what happened to being tough, what happened to elbows up, more like hands up. Obviously, that's, he's the conservative, BC conservative there.
And what happened to the July 15th deadline? Now it's been pushed to August 1st. And when you look into this further, even if we get a deal by August 1st, Parliament doesn't reconvene till September 15th. Then you have 21 days where the bill has to sit. And even if they rush this through, we're not going to have a working deal till earliest November.
Hey, they deserve a holiday. They worked really hard. They almost like 6 weeks of work. Ian and I have talked about this so many times. If Canada's clearly or in a crisis, according to the Liberals, why are we not sitting? Why are we on vacation?
Precisely.
Why are we on vacation? And this is from the Financial Post. Trump tariffs, once viewed as punitive, now win stock market approvals. And we're seeing this in the world. Trump's tariffs, he's eyeing blanket tariffs of 15 to 20% on most trading partners. And the UK got a deal. I think it was 10 for the UK, and there's some different ones. But like you said, Indonesia just got a deal, and it was 20%. China got a deal. And then a lot of these are coming with tariffs for those countries, but not so much for the Americans when they're saying it. And then the EU is also looking right now, they're being threatened with the same tariffs that Canada is threatened with.
Yeah, that's one thing we're seeing under Donald Trump is America's throwing its weight around again.
It has the biggest stick in the world, and that's
And we need them. 68% of Canadian exports go to the States, so we rely on them.
more than they rely on us. That's the facts. That's the facts, no matter what. Market watchers warn Trump may not chicken out because they called him Taco Trump. Trump always chickens out, but there's some that he's not chickening out on. So, and then it's showing that they've raked in billions and billions of dollars in tariffs. And one of the things that Aaron O'Toole is pointing this out, and Renee Merrifield and I talked about this yesterday. You can go watch that on Beyond the Ballot. Talked about this. While we're being distracted with tariffs, Trump's playing the long game, and we're not even in that game, and he's attracting businesses to the United States. There's trillions of dollars of deals that have been made, lots of people moving plants and operations back to the United States. They've cut regulation, they've put tax incentives in place, and Canada still continues to see this investment capital drain and brain drain. A lot of the smarter people are going to the US for better opportunities. That's the thing we need to tackle. How do we tackle that if we just completely clog everything up with regulations and high taxation?
And I had a question about this slide you might be able to answer when it's saying that reciprocal tariffs are going to actually injure our economy.
Correct. So so the tariffs that Trump puts on only punishes the Americans, right, and punishes some of us if we lose jobs. But when we put tariffs on, it increase the prices of whatever we put the tariffs on. So if we say there's a 30% tariff on all agriculture that comes to Canada, obviously that's you paying that as a consumer, right? So that's why, at first there was a lot of talk about how we need to hit back with tariffs, and then a lot of the university academics and that said, whoa, before you do that, you're actually going to punish Canadians with those tariffs, and best to take kind of a wait and see approach and see what needs to be done. And that was the advice of many economists here in Canada, including many academics, to just pump the brakes and not do counter tariffs. Because let the American people scream when they start paying those tariffs as opposed to penalizing our own people.
Fair enough. I like having the economy mansplained to me. I don't really.
And then Pierre Poilievre, the inflation numbers from yesterday, Pierre Poilievre goes in and explains that. We're going to play a small clip here from Pierre Poilievre.
June inflation data is out. There's the top line and the bottom line. The top line is that CPI inflation was 1.9%, which is roughly the Bank of Canada's target. However, that number is artificially suppressed by the elimination of the carbon tax that the Conservative Party forced the Liberals to do. By eliminating the carbon tax, fuel prices drop, which brings down the average price increase across the full basket of measured goods. That is a good thing. Thank God that while everyone was telling us that the carbon tax was a done deal, you and I fought on to get rid of it. However, that is only a one-time savings. Once the next fiscal year comes along, those savings will no longer be baked into the inflation number. The CPI trim and the CPI median are two measures that strip out volatile things like fuel and others that are affected by the carbon tax cancellation. And they show that inflation is up to 3% and 3.1% respectively. Worse than that, I'm quoting from Bloomberg here, the 3-month moving annualized average of the core rate surged to 3.39%. from previously 3.01. 3.39 is well above both the Bank of Canada's target and its acceptable range. And this 3-month average is really important because instead of comparing year over year, which tends to overweight things that were happening a year ago, it actually looks at what's been happening in the recent 3 months, roughly 100 days. And we see that in that time frame, prices have been accelerating at an accelerating rate. Now, it will be obvious that some will say this has nothing to do with the Liberal government. It's just because of the trade war. Well, let me just quote from the Bank of Canada that said, and I quote, "The tariffs that Canada imposes on U.S. goods are estimated to affect roughly 9% of Canada's CPI or consumer price basket." So that means that 91% of the goods are unaffected. And I will note that Mark Carney has been pulling back tariffs, putting his elbows down, and therefore the tariffs have less impact going forward. So what is driving the rising inflation, and why is it that everything is so expensive for you and your family? The answer is the government is getting more and more expensive. Despite Mark Carney's talk, His sudden talk of spending less while investing more, the reality is he's spending a hell of a lot more than Trudeau. His first spending bill jacked up the cost of government by.
Yeah, you can go watch that full clip there with Pierre Poilievre as he explains it. We need investment in Canada. We need productivity to increase. That's the thing. You need productivity to cause inflation to go down. And, like for the longest time, the Liberals told us that the carbon tax didn't affect inflation. That's the key point there. Turns out it affects inflation dramatically because energy's in everything. And energy's in everything we do, make, ship, produce, all that kind of stuff. And right now, we need to incentivize and we need to drive productivity. That's the key piece the Liberals are missing. They're talking about spending more money, but that's not productivity. We need a pipeline. We need a pipeline in the worst way. We need stuff to get done, and we need access to a resource. We can't take 20 years to build a mine.
No, that brings us to the whole Bill C5, and we're going to discuss with the Indigenous people, because we have passed a policy now so that we can streamline these projects, and we're actually in court again now.
It's going to get stuck. It's all going to get clogged up, but let's finish this up first here.
8%, and we've cut that clip off first, but it is 8% spending more this year than last year.
It's a budget, no budget. Poilievre, and then we're talking about his ethics, though, too. Poilievre calls Carney out, says he lied about conflicts after ethics disclosure reveals investment portfolio. That's that next slide there. And this is getting a lot of play out there on social media. I don't know if you have that one or not, but looks like we don't have that one. And then Sam Cooper put out a piece that says, Democracy Watchdog says PM Carney's ethics screen actually hides his participation in conflicted interests. And there you go, right here. And this is what you were just talking about. First Nations launched legal challenge against Ontario Federal Bills 5 and C5. There you go. So, so they're saying they don't like just this fast tracking thing. So, and then they did carve some of that out when they were doing it in these bills as well, in this bill as well. So.
Well, and when they carved out this new bill, the Building Canada Act, there's 5 definition points for national interest. And the 4th one is advance the interests of Indigenous people. The 5th one is contribute to clean growth and to meeting Canada's climate change objectives. So their legislative challenge is saying that we're going to ignore these things. However, those are 2 of the main points. And I will say that they're also saying that the legislation is, what's the word for that? Not very defined. Like it's like
vague.
Vague, that's the word. But legislation is inherently vague. So.
Well, they hide stuff in there for sure. Alberta, not liking it as well. So Daniel Smith, the Albertans aren't afraid to speak their minds, and that's exactly what we saw in the first Alberta Next panel. These conversations matter because they shape the bold future of what we're building together. And then we're going to play a small clip here from this this panel here. Let's play this clip.
Ottawa continues or has ignored us and will continue to ignore us. It doesn't matter what we do here tonight or what the outcome of this is. They will continue to ignore us. There's one question only, that needs to be on a referendum, and that is, do you support Alberta exiting Canadian Confederation and becoming a sovereign nation? At that point, then you'll be able to negotiate with Ottawa. Then you'll be able to negotiate with Quebec. Without that, they will continue to ignore us. If they do not know that we are serious and we can leave at any point in time, we will not ever get a pipeline to the Atlantic Ocean. It is time to put the separation question on a ballot so that Alberta people can decide. Thank you.
Thank you.
There you go. And again, we just go back to that Bill C5. Contribute to clean growth and meeting Canada's climate change objectives. Alberta wants a pipeline. They don't want to be mired in the mud, and there's these half kind of like, we're not sure. Like, where is the pipeline? They talk about how we're going to be an energy superpower. Now they've kind of changed that phrasing on Carney's kind of advertisements to a clean energy superpower. Alberta wants to get oil and gas to the market. That's what they want to do.
Yeah, and it's only 28 to 34% of Albertans that are right now polling to separate.
I think a lot of that will have to do with what Danielle Smith says. A lot of people have a lot of faith in Danielle Smith, so it's where she leans, well, where this will end up. Right now, Danielle Smith is trying to be conciliatory and saying, like, show us the pipeline. She's trying to say that to Tim Hodgson and to Mark Carney. Show us the pipeline. Show us the commitment.
Yeah, it's a bargaining tool. It's reminiscent of Scotland, though, where even if we were to go to a referendum vote, probably wouldn't vote to leave Canada.
Well, the same thing. Quebec voted twice already. That was a very narrow margin, right? And Quebec, you know, they may make some noise again. And we actually interviewed Bill C-18. We interviewed Talib Nuramad here, Hamad, in Kelowna here. They were here for this Liberal Pacific Caucus, and asked them if they had any intention of scrapping Bill C-18 that has news banned on Meta's platforms, Facebook and Instagram. And I don't think the Liberals know the answer to this, because when we interviewed Stephen Fuhr, the Liberal MP here representing Kelowna, he said that the legislation needs to go and needs to be reworked. Ian talked to Jenna Sudds and said half the Liberal MPs, this is off the record, half, or not off the record, but she just said it in a discussion with them, that half the Liberals don't want it. And here's him saying, well, we're going to negotiate. Well, does Meta want to negotiate? It takes two to negotiate, right? Meta said, we're not paying, plain and simple. And with what's happening in the United States, there's no way they're going to negotiate this. And the Liberals continue to block news with Bill C-18, and
well, they're
close to 100 outlets have failed in Canada since its been introduction 2 years ago. And then the Liberals said they would boycott Meta, but since January, Carney and the Liberals have spent over $5 million advertising on the platform because they said it's too important to ignore.
Well, and when you're on Facebook, you see that on the right-hand side, CBC sponsored, CBC sponsored. Those are the ones that still come up.
Well, they're paying for it, right, when it's sponsored. So they're
Yeah.
paying to get on there. And it's crushing local independent media outlets like ourselves. And here it is. We don't even get a straight answer because one MP says this, one says that.
Can
And
a
it's clear-
politician give a straight answer?
Stanley? Well, they should. There should be accountability. There you go. And then there's that the safety minister that keeps coming up for the second day in a row. This is Mercedes Stephenson from Global here saying the second day in a row, per minister's officer has told us no comment when asked about the story, whether Carney was aware of these letters and if he continues to support the Minister of Public Safety. I mean, I think there's a few ministers that are in jeopardy of losing their job. If Carney's serious, he's going to need to rework his cabinet and get rid of the people that have been failures.
It does look like a cabinet reshuffle is coming in the fall. What I'll say about this, I dug further into these letters and the terror group member. The terrorist we're talking about is a Tamil Tiger. So Sri Lankan war has been going on for years and years. So this man is 48 years old. He's, sorry, I'm really tired today. But all I was going to say is terrorist is kind of a subjective term again. And when you dig further into the story, it's another alarmist headline because I'm not saying we should let the man in, but there's not any, it's like an affiliation. And it's kind of like, since there's been a civil war going on, it's him versus her. You know what I'm saying?
I think we should be more selective on any immigrants that come in here that should add to the Canadian culture, not detract from it with any kind of links to any type of terrorism. And I think that's what a lot of people are trying to get
Oh,
at, right?
100%.
We shouldn't be just like, oh, that one's okay.
No, but yeah.
Lots of questions out there from even the elbows up crowd. Is the new Prime Minister emerging as a progressive, a conservative, or someone who just say anything to placate the public? We're not sure. I mean, that's the thing, that the rubber has not hit the road. Is he a conservative, like in disguise, or a liberal? He sure does a lot of dancing like a liberal. Like you get different answers all the time depending on who he talks to. But, Tim Hodgson is, like a serious guy. But are they going to get a pipeline done? I think that's where the rubber meets the road. Will he unleash the beast? And our beast is our natural resources. Will he unleash the beast? Or will we continue to go down the same road that the Liberals have been on for 10 years with virtue signaling and identity politics?
How fast do you think a pipeline could get done?
First step is to approve it. That's step one. Takes a while to build one, But step one is to approve it and say that it's cleared. And nobody's going to invest unless the hurdles are cleared. Like no company's going to come along and say, oh, we're going to put in billions of dollars to get 3/4 of the way, or to build it out to the West Coast and find out, well, there's a supertanker ban, so what's the point? So even if we get the oil pipeline to the West Coast, if there's a supertanker ban, you can't do anything with the oil. So that's Bill C-48. Carney's trying to work the European angle as well, and Ursula von der Leyen said, she had a call with Mark Carney, and she said it was a good call, a stronger partnership, but that means nothing until there's an actual deal. Again, it's just more like photo ops and tweets that mean nothing unless there's actually a deal, right? So we have enough photo ops from Francois Philippe Champagne, Melanie Jolie, and the like. What we need is actually something that is concrete, a real deal. Like, they would like our oil and they would like our gas. I mean, they came to us begging for that in 2022, and we said there's no business case for it. And the Americans signed that deal just recently. And
while the world is still using oil and gas, I think Canada has to capitalize on it.
Like the Norwegians, sell it to them. If there's a market for it, sell it to them. And then this is Catherine Marshall. She's the lawyer for that Travis there, the CBC employee that resigned, and he said he was forced to resign. She said her inbox is now overflowing with messages from current and former CBC employees echoing stories of exclusion, retaliation, and being silenced. This isn't a one-off, it's systemic, and if you face similar roadblocks, and she's asking for more people to reach out, and this is why we need a free and independent media here in Canada. Another reason to get rid of Bill C-18 and stop funding media, free the press, free the media.
It's going to be interesting to see the specific cases of what exactly has been blocked and what has been allowed. So I'm excited to follow the story.
And then in the international news, we got the Democrats here. This is the CEO of Crowds on Demand, tells me he was offered $20 million to recruit demonstrators for anti-Trump protests on Thursday. So he's coming and saying that we're going to play a small clip of this here.
Have the organizers of the July 17th demonstrations approached you?
Interests aligned with the organizers of the July 17th movement have approached us. And in fact, we rejected an offer that probably is worth around $20 million.
$20 million?
Correct. I mean, this is a nationwide thing, right? It's not to say I would have made $20 million personally, but the value of the contract would have been worth around that amount nationwide to organize huge.
So there was a lot of, when all those protests were taking place against Elon Musk and that they were being paid to protest, they denied it and denied it and denied it. And it looks like there is actually people being paid to protest and actively go out there.
Yeah, I'm not sure there's a reason why this man would lie to us.
Neither. That's what he does. He sells crowds to people. And this is another one. This is done with the COVID vaccine. And this is a doctor, Kirk Moore, who was... he faced 35 years in prisons after destroying COVID vaccines, vials, giving his own patients vax cards who weren't vaccinated. I'm going to play a small clip from him here.
You go in here, what are your thoughts about right now that you're seeing all this?
Just seeing people I haven't seen in years come over and stand with us and support. It's unbelievable.
So when you, this is why you did it, right? Because you love the people you that are here.
I did what was right. You know, I didn't have anybody in mind except for just doing what was right.
So a different story here in Canada. Trump has rehired back all the fired Army personnel in the United States with back pay. And they've dropped charges against a lot of people here. This is the charges were dismissed against Dr. Kirk Moore, who was facing 35 years in prison under the Democrats there.
Well, I think if you look at the principle of it, you just forget the details. Should anyone be forced to do anything against their will? Do we want governments to be able to dictate anything about your life, really?
Where were you in 2022? I'm just saying.
I think there's some. I think it's a win for the principle. No matter if you agree or disagree with the subject matter, the principle is that you don't want a government dictating
The mood has definitely shifted in the United States and many other countries in the world, where in Canada it has not really shifted yet. There is, other than Alberta, Daniel Smith has come out and done some stuff. But in British Columbia, we just gave the Order of Canada to Dr. Bonnie Henry, where we had some of the longest, I think we were with the COVID, some of the COVID mandates when the whole world had stopped doing them, and we still had them in place for our healthcare professionals here in British Columbia. And then this Epstein thing is just going on and on and on, and supposedly lots of this is getting a lot of things. The U.S. Speaker, Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, wants the full release of the Epstein files. There's a lot of talk now that something's going to drop, something big is going to drop. So we're going to see, because Pam Bondi under a ton of heat over this thing here. First saying like we're going to, we got stuff, and then all of a sudden saying there is nothing, and Trump saying there's nothing too, right? So.
And with Pam Bondi, she's gone on the record now saying we're not releasing any of these videos. It's all child pedophilia. However, the youngest recorded victim is 14 years old for the Epstein files. So how are all the videos child porn if, it's more like teenager, if anything. But I think that they throw around child pedophilia, and for us in our online acts, they're always putting that as like the demagogue that we're fighting against. But I think the real story, what they're hiding in the Epstein files, are actually more so his ties to Israel. So I think the thing that's going to come out, if it ever comes out, is the ties to Israel.
We shall see, shall we not? There you go. I did an interview with John Carney yesterday, and we were talking in that interview, we were talking about the city of Nanaimo. They sent them a legal letter saying, that they should cease and desist, because they passed a bylaw, and they called it the Respect Spaces bylaw or something like that. I just lost the name here for a second, but and it basically is banning people from video recording in city council, a public place where people are voted for by the public, and they're trying to ban people from recording and photography in public spaces, and that includes parks as well. And stuff like that.
I mean, it is a complete undermine of transparency and accountability for our government. You want to be able to record city council. People should have access to those.
Yeah, so they've sent a legal letter, and they're gonna face a lawsuit if they don't remove that bylaw there. And,
admittedly, it'd be nice if when you're out and about, people aren't taking pictures all over. But again, freedom of rights.
There you go. You can go watch that full interview with myself and John Carney there on Kelowna Now. Eleanor Sturko, again with the Nanaimo here. Once again, a municipal government is forced to use taxpayer dollars to mitigate unsafe conditions caused by failed NDP drug and soft on crime policies. Because the Nanaimo City Hall, first they want to ban you from videotaping, now they're going to fence off Nanaimo City Hall to protect from overdose and sight disorder. What's going on in the Nanaimo City Hall? Maybe we should see if we can get a chat with the mayor there.
I'd be curious to be on the ground outside of City Hall, see what the environment's like.
And the RCMP arrest that alleged hijacker at a Vancouver airport after airspace was shut down there. The RCMP say they arrested the pilot of the small aircraft that was allegedly hijacked from Victoria and flown to Vancouver International Airport, where other flights had to be temporarily halted. RCMP said in a statement, the report came in around 1 p.m. on Tuesday that a Cessna had been hijacked on its way to Vancouver. Police say the sole occupant of the plane was arrested after it touched down. There you go.
Yeah, we don't have much details on this, but it must have cost quite a pretty sum to shut down the airport for a while.
A stir, that's for sure. There you go. And then this was a story we did the other day too. A Canadian, this is Harman Vangu MLA here, Conservative MLA here in British Columbia. A Canadian gang boss who was linked to global cartels was just arrested in massive U.S. drug sting, chemicals from China, meth in California, and exports to Australia, coordinator from Vancouver. We did that story the other day. And it talked about that this pipeline of drugs that was going to go from Canada to the United States.
Well, and this man has been known to Canadian authorities since 2007. So when we hear Trump blustering about Canada's not doing enough judicially for the drugs, this is a good example. Why is this man free if we've known he's a criminal since 2007?
Let's move on to the stock market. The stock market, eh? What's going on in the world today? And the markets are relatively flat, up though, but Bitcoin, again, they were doing that vote there. It didn't pass in the first round here, so I think they're going to vote again today at noonish, I think, Eastern time. So that should be happening shortly to see if they can get that passed. Bitcoin right now Well, I can't seem to pull up Bitcoin right now. It was. Well, everything's just dancing around here. It doesn't seem to want to come up for me right now. But Bitcoin has the wind in the sails, right? And here's this Wall Street legend. Steve Grasso just said live on CNBC that Bitcoin is easily going to 350,000. There's so many people calling for these higher numbers here. We're going to play a clip on it, but let's play that clip. Actually, let's play it.
I am a firm believer that it's going much higher from here. Think about corporate adoption. Corporate adoption is probably only about 2%. Central banks, only about 3%. Those are both going higher, much higher. Retail investors going much higher. So look at it through, I'll leave off with this. Look at it through the market cap of Bitcoin. That's around 2 trillion, let's say. Look at the market cap of gold. That's around 20 trillion. Maybe it doesn't have to be gold, but if it closes the gap to 50%, you're looking at $500,000 per Bitcoin. And I do think that in iShot, you're looking at 250.
Wind in the sails for Bitcoin for sure. We got another clip here from the Citi CFO. Let's play this clip here on Bitcoin as well.
Countries with clients. We have an expansive network that enables our clients to manage their liquidity, manage their payments, manage financings and vendors, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
What clients really want is the ability to be multi-border, multi-asset, and be able to do these things 24/7 all the time.
It sounds like a stable coin.
And our token services business, our Citi token services business, enables our clients to do those things, and we're continuing to invest in that. Where stablecoin comes in is with this Genius Act. I think it creates an opportunity for us to be able to serve people who will be issuing stablecoins and to.
There you go. That vote here, I think it's going to happen at noon Eastern time here again. It failed last night, but they wanted. I think some of the Republicans wanted an amendment in there that said that the government will not be creating a CBDC. I think that was their big pushback. They don't want the government being able to control this type of stuff. So the markets, Bitcoin is just banging on the door of 120,000 again. That's in record high territories as well. Gold's in record high territories as well. Gold this morning at 3,352, up about 28 bucks. Silver again continues to rocket. It's just under 38 bucks. That's a big number for silver. Not a high. The Hunt brothers did that back in the 80s. When they tried to corner the silver market. Copper high as well, too, with the Trump tariffs. Everything seems to be at record highs, including the stock market, the Dow, the NASDAQ, even. The TSX is at highs as well. So everything seems to be near highs, right? So.
Well, there's positive. There's
positive. And then Dan Ives, who was told to shut up by Elon Musk recently, and also was told to shut up from Tim Cook from Apple. Tech stocks will have a very strong second half of the year, kicking off with a robust second Q tech earnings season, which we're going to see right away here. The AI revolution tailwinds now accelerating. I'm going to say this, AI revolution is huge. And what we just seen from Grok coming out, Grok swamped this morning. You can't even get on there. So, I mean, there's a lot of people trying to use it. But the names that he has is NVIDIA, obviously, it's the world's
and with
highest market cap stock, $5 trillion.
With the AI revolution, we just have more increased demand for power, energy. So we'll see
energy
those
is
also
everything.
soar.
Energy is everything. Over and over and over again, say that in your head. Energy is everything. Microsoft, Palantir, Tesla. Tesla is the largest, or I'd say the most significant AI real-world application company. Tesla is everything as well. I'm a big fan of Tesla, obviously. I mean, I think everybody knows that, right? There you go. In our technology and transportation, Starlink, the world's largest global communications company, just committed to its mission to connect the unconnected, high-speed, low-latency internet over the past year. As millions of new users have been added to the network, speeds and latency continue to improve. They're going to have speeds faster than any cable outlet. You know what I mean? And Canada, again, Doug Ford and the Liberals don't like Elon Musk, and so they turned down that deal that they had with Starlink to get internet to the rural areas of Ontario. And they're going to put money towards a global communications company in Ontario that doesn't, I don't think, have any satellites in the air. So
I think just because you like the owner of a company doesn't mean you can shoo
dislike or like. You're saying,
yeah, exactly. You can't eschew the technology.
Some of the best technology in the world is created by, or he runs these companies, and for Canada to ignore those companies is shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah.
And then.
Well, and then you think about if anyone's using the TELUS network lately, I lose service all over the place.
Yeah, we're going to play this next clip here, and this is a drone thing that gets rid of drones. You know, like the drones in the Ukraine war, drones are a big part of that war, and this is the U.S. answering back on how do you get the U.S. Army just unveiled a weapon that melts drones midair, not a laser, not a missile, a microwave cannon. Let's play this small clip. We're going to kind of mute the music here so we don't have a copyright thing on it. There you go. We've seen this. Look at that. We've seen the swarms of drones that the Chinese can launch as well, like swarms of drones. And this is how to combat these drones. Just basically melt them. And
explosions. I was going to say, I wonder if them coming out with this technology. It's been reported that they've used a lot of their counter defense missiles in the Israel-Iran conflict. So coming out and saying they have this technology is maybe a deterrent for other countries, like, oh, just because we're running low on missiles, we've got other things up our sleeve.
They are the guy with the big stick. There's no doubt about it. And then Tesla apparently launching in China the new Model Y-L, I guess, right? And it's going to be a 6-seater Model Y. So that's to kind of cater to that, audience in China. China, big EV adoption. Like over 50% of the vehicles sold in China are EVs, and Volkswagen just closed the plant, the gas Volkswagen plant. They closed one of their plants in China. They're having a tough time. A lot of the auto manufacturers are having a tough time with combustion vehicles in China because there's so many EV makers in China as well, including Tesla.
And China gearing towards clean energy, clean cars, that's going to make a huge difference globally.
You know what? One thing with China, though, they'll use any type of energy that's available, including coal, including nuclear, including solar, including wind, or whatever. Yeah. They said it, the president has said he will not impoverish his people by any kind of climate change goals or anything. He will use whatever energies at his disposal, because energy, according to Chamath here, that we've done his interview as well, energy is equal, like the abundance of energy equals the productivity in a nation and also the wealth of a nation. And here, again, liberals continue to suppress our biggest asset because, most people will recognize energy is our thing. Energy, minerals, and all that stuff that play into energy as well, like lithium and all that kind of stuff.
Now, I wonder where the L is going to fit in the cheeky acronyms.
I don't know. Maybe he's got something else going on in there. Because, yes, the law, like what Andrew's talking about there, the lineup for Tesla is sexy with the Cyber truck, though, too, right? So it's also outside the norm there. Yeah, and this is, we're not going to play that clip because we had that. But the Tesla diner, I thought I had that clip there. Oh, maybe I don't. But anyway, I thought I had the clip. But the Tesla new diner and supercharger is going to be packed when it opens. And there you go. And Elon said he ate there, and he said it was incredible. So here's another demonstration of American military might here. This is an F-35B Lightning II performs a vertical landing on open sea. This is a $100 million stealth jet hovering like a helicopter, no runway. Let's play this clip here. That's probably good. Well, it'll stop here in about a second, and it'll just lower itself down onto the deck. Canada still has a fleet of jets that are 40 years old. We need to do something in our NATO spending. We're saying we're going to increase our spending, but
Well,
Harper ordered those F-35s before he left. Trudeau canceled them. And then I think in 2023, he reordered them. And now they're still humming and hawing whether they're going to do it again.
By 2035, we're aiming to be spending $150 billion a year on our military. So perhaps we'll see some improvements.
We have, again, 4 submarines for those that didn't watch the other days. 4 submarines, only one works, and the 4 submarines are diesel. And we bought 2 of those in a UK garage sale a number of years ago, and they both lit on fire on their way to Canada. And we tried to get our money back, and the United Kingdom said, good one. So there you go. No nuclear subs here in Canada. We have the largest coastline to protect as well, from the Pacific to the Arctic to the Atlantic. And we have 1 diesel sub.
I'm not sure.
That's probably as noisy as an elephant in a...
I'm not sure no matter how much we invest into our military that we're ever going to have a population and military big enough to protect our landmass, which is why...
That's why we rely on the Americans.
Exactly.
Elbows up.
Yeah, we're never going to get away from the Americans.
I thought, according to some of the Liberal MPs, that they were going to roll tanks in our streets and we should be fighting the Americans.
Yeah, I think we are a vital interest to America, just as Ukraine is always going to be a vital interest to Russia.
Exactly. They will protect us regardless of whether they like us or not. And this is in our health section here, and this is, I follow this person on there. After 8 years of training as a professional athlete, one of the signs that she says, and I do use the creatine as well, and I know that a lot of people have used it. I think you're starting to use creatine as well. Lots of people. It's really good for females that don't get enough.
Yep, research is coming down strongly on the 5.
One of the strongest, most recommended supplements out there is creatine.
Yep.
So, and a lot of people say they use it even for brain clarity. So.
Yeah, more and more research, or more and more positives coming from creatine use.
So there you go, something to think about. Instead of that double or the Starbucks with the Frappuccino half-light caramel drizzle.
Red Bulls.
Red Bulls, yeah.
Maybe you need to double dose creatine next time you drive.
Just creatine. There you go. Might be better for you instead of like all this sugar that you pump into your system. Yeah. Maybe less sugar, more creatine. There you go. Let's get into the Are You Serious section, and we also got to pick a Fool of the Day too. But we're going to play this small clip here. This is the game, and this is the comedy section here, and this is an AI creation of Pam Bondi. A throwback to Men in Black. Let's play this clip here.
Anyway, I'm going to need everyone to look at this little flashy thingy over here. If anyone is wearing sunglasses, please take them off and just look straight into this flashy thingy, okay? Here we go. 1, 2, and 3. Oh shit. I forgot to put my sunglasses on. Did I just zap myself?
There you go. Poor Pam.
Yeah, it's getting scary good.
Poor Pam. Yeah, she's got even her mannerisms down pretty good. She just zapped herself. So now she doesn't even know about the Epstein files. And then this is a good one here, and this is for all those people, including yourself, that don't like social media. Look at this. This cat says, "Me on my way to work because I was too shy to dance on TikTok in 2020."
I think I've probably regained hundreds of hours over the last few years, so if I gotta ride the bus, I'll ride the bus.
You gotta love the cats, right? Cat memes. And then Jagme Singh makes an appearance here, and this is, like some people might think this is serious, but here's Jagme Singh. We're going to play a clip of Jagme. He's trying to be relevant again.
Doubly committed to equal voice. I'm doubly committed to equal voice because I'm a proud father of 2 daughters. And one of those... Thank you. And the second daughter that we were waiting for is here with me tonight. So if you hear some cries, I think she's just waiting for me to get back to her. So I got to say, I have seen, if I can be really blunt, I've seen a lot of older white men fail upwards again and again. And that is just going to continue unless we actually try to change things. So I fundamentally believe if you don't change things, you're going to have the same system. And the same system is going to benefit those that were already in power. So you have to fundamentally do things to change it. And that's what Equal Voice is about. Saying we got to change the way things are if we want different results. If you want different outcomes, you can't just hope they're going to happen.
Speaking of failures, he failed his whole party, destroyed his whole party, and he failed Canadians for 10 years by propping up a government nobody wanted. Jagme Singh talking about failures.
Yeah, and the Liberals have failed upwards into power again.
Yeah. Jagme Singh, no room to talk about failures. He failed Canada, failed his party. Like, his party doesn't even have official party status.
Well, and another thing is just singling out white men. If you were to single out any other group, woman, any other race, you wouldn't be able to do that. White men are the only demographic that you could single out this way in a public speech and not be vilified for.
People should start pushing back, because the only failure that I saw there was Jagme Singh. And again, the record speaks for itself. The NDP, not even official party status. Jack Layton was alive today, he would be losing his mind of what Jagme Singh did to Canada and the NDP as a whole.
Yeah, the New Democratic Party are sacrificing some of their values, which we see even on a provincial level with the shipbuilding.
Yeah, that's it. There you go. And we got a little clip here from CBC here that they're trying to lead the conversation. Listen to this.
A family lawyer in Saskatchewan says he is seeing the rise of Manosphere. It's a trend leading to divorces. You can read more about the influence that it is having on marriages on our website or on the CBC News app.
I think if any podcast you're listening to is affecting your marriage, there's probably deeper issues in your marriage.
I think if you're listening to CBC, you may have some issues. That'd be my thing. If you're listening to CBC on a like the other day, we did it yesterday. CBC explaining how do you talk to Americans, and if you walk into their house and they got Fox News on, how do you talk to them?
It's sowing discontent and animosity between your population.
I'd say anybody that if you walk into somebody and they're playing CBC, you should check to see if they've been to the doctor and see if they've had some kind of mental scans.
I would say CBC's agenda is trying to sow discord amongst the population so we don't pay attention to what the elites are doing.
I would agree with that. Do you got a fool of the day?
I do not have a fool of the day.
Well, there you go. Let's see. It's a tough one. We don't have a lot of foolish things in here today, though, right? I would say that the fool of the day is Talib Nouraman there that says Bill C-18, that Liberals aren't going to scrap Bill C-18. Again, he just gives this. He says that the path forward is to negotiate with Meta. Meta's not going to negotiate. It's just another stall tactic, another just.
Well, again, it's like, what power do we have to negotiate with?
Have you seen the stock chart of Meta? Have you seen it? It's at record highs. It's at record highs. Have you seen the stock chart of Chorus? It's in the garbage can. It's 9 cents. 9 cents. And then many of the other Canadian public companies. This is half the traffic and half the revenues of all media outlets across Canada have cratered since the introduction of Bill C-18. CTV, in a press release, said they laid off 4,800 employees, citing Bill C-18. Kamloops this week closed down completely, and cited Bill C-18 in their final sign-off letter. This is what we have, and then this guy is saying, negotiating is what responsible people do. What takes two people to negotiate? And if Meta's not interested in negotiating, why would they? And then what we've seen with the digital services tax, when Canada backed off on that, that's Meta and Google and Facebook. I can guarantee Google's probably going to walk away from their deal that they did as well, because they now have the power from Trump giving to them, and that's who got rid of the digital services tax in a heartbeat. So do we have to beg Trump to get rid of Bill C-18? Do we have to go to him to see if we can get Bill C-18 reviewed? It's just ridiculous. Bill C-18 is crushing local independent media.
Well, and it's creating a dystopic reality where there's one media source and it's state funded.
Yeah, enjoy. So there you go. That's our show for today.
Hopefully tomorrow I'll be a bit more awake in the beginning. I feel like I waked up by the
I think she just needs more creatine. There you go. Double shot, double creatine, and less of the double sugar, and less Red Bull for me. There you go. That's our show for today. We do thank you for watching Now Media. Like, subscribe, share, And we don't get any funding from the government, so maybe ask CBC if they'll give us some of their funding. Because the executives are getting raises ever since Mark Carney and the Liberals got elected.
1.4
Nothing for the
billion.
reporters, though, but hey, the executives got a raise. That's the most important thing.
And now the reporters are rebelling, so let's see the inner workings of the CBC. Hopefully it comes out soon.
There you go. That's our show for today. Thank you for watching Now Media.
We don't just report the news. We live here too. We're your neighbors, bringing you stories that matter to all of us. No government funding, no outside influence. Kelowna Now, local, independent. News you can trust.